Hello students, Jai Swaminarayan. My name is Professor Urvish Mewada. I am HOD Electrical Department, Sri Swaminarayan Institute of Technology. I am the subject matter of Industrial Instrumentation subject, which is in the seventh semester, and GTU subject code is 2170913. Students, in we are currently discussing the chapter number 3, that is displacement measurement. This is the lecture number 2 for chapter number 3. In previous lecture, we discussed about the introduction of the displacement measurement, LVDT, and resistive displacement measurement. Now, in the lecture number 2, we will discuss. This is the topic number 4 of chapter number 3, is rotary variable differential transformer or transducer. We can use both the words over here, transformer or transducer, because the working principle is somewhat like a transformer. That's why we are indicating transformer over here. But that device converts physical quantity into the electrical quantity. So that's why it is called a transducer also. So this is rotary variable differential transformer. So uh, let us discuss how the rotary variable differential transducer acts. So generally it converts the rotary motion into the electrical signal. So here we have the core, which is rotating in rotating in the nature. In the previous case, LVDT, the core is having linear motion. Now in this we have the rotary motion. So if you want to check the displacement of any rotary means device which is rotating, and if we need to measure that displacement, then we can use rotary variable differential transducer or that transformer. So we can access that, or we can measure that distance with the help of rotary variable differential transducer. So the construction of RVDT basically similar to the LVDT, and the difference is the say in the core in RVDT is replaced by the cam shaft shaped core. So cam shaped core, cam is a mechanical word. Cam means it is a rotating spindle or on which we have connected our core. So if we rotate that handle with the help of any means measurement quantity, then the core will rotates, and as core rotates, the EMF of the secondary winding will change. So we can have that EMF in terms of the rotary motion of the device. So cam is generally rotating between the windings by means of the shaft. So with the help of shaft, we connected the cam with the rotating device. Now it operates on the principle of say mutual inductance, because as we discussed that this is called transformer, and this is also called the transducer. So generally the working principle is say same as the transformer. So uh, and both means LVDT is also working on the same principle, and RVDT is also working on the same principle. So that's why both operates on the same principle of the transformer. So here let us discuss how this means RVDT setup is. So we have the primary winding and having the AC source supply, and we have the core which is rotating. Say we can rotate it clockwise or anti-clockwise as per our requirement. Then with this point, the shaft is connected, and with the shaft we can connect our measurement quantity, means the what we are measuring means the displacement we are measuring using RVDT. So that object connected with us connect with the shaft. The secondary winding having the differential say connection. Pay attention over here, students. You have to draw a connection like this is a differential connection. Many of the students means are making mistake to draw the differential connection of the transformer. So please keep in mind this connection. In LVDT you have to draw the same, and in the RVDT you have to draw the same. So output voltage is the difference of both the EMF means voltage generates at the secondary winding 1 and secondary winding 2, so Vs1 minus Vs2. So whenever this shaft rotates and when this shaft is nearer to the core, if this shaft is nearer to the winding, that winding will produce maximum EMF. So according to that production of the EMF, this LVDT offers the output whether it is positive or whether it is negative. So we can measure that displacement using this rotating core and with the help of this rotary variable differential transducer. So the greater value of angular displacement, the greater is the differential output. So there is an angular difference, or we can say displacement, which will produce the angular means greater differential output. So hence the output is basically linear, because we can gradually or smoothly rotating, we can rotate the core, or the clockwise rotation increasing voltage of the secondary winding of one phase, while the counterclockwise increasing the voltage of the opposite phase. So basically the fundamental is suppose this point is nearer to this S1, so this S1 having the maximum EMF, and this point is exactly 180 degree to the to this point. So whenever this point is at S1, so the opposite point is far from the S2, so then that's why S1 will produce the maximum EMF compared to the S2. And when this core is gradually moved towards the S1, then EMF of the S1 will gradually increase, and if it is going away from the S1, then EMF of S2 will gradually decrease, and S1 will gradually decrease and S2 will gradually increase. So that both will give the differential output at the output side. So the basically advantage, let we discuss the for the RVDT. So RVDT is having say high range, because it has clockwise or anti-clockwise motion in both the direction, so we can use it for the high range. They are easily to align and maintain, so setup of the RVDT is quite simple. So we can mount that device wherever we require, and it is easy to mount. And low power consumption, they have a long mechanical life, because only core is rotating, rest of the part is steady. So they have the long mechanical life, and they consist of the low hysteresis effect, because we use good silicon steel and dynamo steel material for the core, then hysteresis effect is less. And they are simple in construction, because only we have the two windings, primary and secondary, and we have the core motion. Now they may have the resistance to high degree shock and vibration, so this device also can withstand the industrial vibrations, and say industrial means it can give the repeated output in the industrial atmosphere. So it is quite durable, and they are small and means high in weight. So due to the weight of the core and weight of the copper winding, the weight of the RVDT is more, even if it is small. Then they have high sensitivity, because as we rotate the core, so as the EMF is instantly changed in the secondary winding, so it has good sensitivity. And the disadvantages of this RVDT is they are sensitive to stray magnetic field, temperature, and magnetic field effect. So if the temperature of the transformer will increase, so it means there might be a chances of generation of the say losses, and more losses will occur. So temperature can affect, also stray magnetic field can also affect the output of the transformer or transducer. Then dynamic response is limited by the mass of the core. So this core is say having weight, so sudden input means a proper input is required for the motion of the core, because core is heavy in the weight. it. So electrically and frequency of the applied voltage. So this will means if the input is say not capable to pull the core suddenly, then it will not show output, means means it will not offer proper sensitivity. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of the RVDT. Now let us discuss the application of the RVDT. We can use this RVDT for the flight control and navigation system, for the aircraft technology, for the flap actuator. So whenever the flapping of any say devices is required, then we can use this RVDT. Then cockpit control of the aircraft technology, then automation assembly equipment movement, for the movement of the automation assembly equipment, and then fuel control we can use this RVDT. So this is how you have to write whenever the RVDT question will ask in the GTU exam. So let us discuss the topic number 5 of unit number 3. So piezoelectric transducer output equation. So we all are aware with this word piezoelectric transducer. So basically piezoelectric transducer is a device, or which it is a material, means it has a property, or we can say naturally which it is available on the earth, and that material has a property. Whenever we give mechanical input to that device, or mechanical compression will give to that object or material, it will produce an electrical output, and whenever we give an electrical output, it will get vibrated. So this is the vice versa transducer, and that's why it is called the piezoelectric effect or piezoresistive effect. Now let us discuss the output equation for the piezoelectric transducer. So some material possesses a special property called piezoelectricity that we already discussed, and the material will generate an electrostatic charge or voltage when mechanically stress are applied across them. So whenever the mechanical stress applied to such devices, it will produce an electrical output. So that's why it is the working principle of this piezoelectric transducer. And the material having piezoelectric electricity are the say we have different type of materials that offers the piezoelectric and piezoresistive effect. So the materials are quartz material, Rochelle salt material, so and the synthetic ceramic material. But quartz is having good sensitivity, so we generally use quartz material for the piezoelectric transducer. The quartz is more suitable device as it has the higher resistivity and less sensitivity to the temperature. So as temperature will increase, the output voltage will decrease. So that's why it can resist more temperature. So we use such material for the piezoelectric effect or piezoresistive effect. So this is the normal, and this is the transverse force which is applied to the piezoelectric crystal or transducer. So this is say force which is applied, and between two terminals, or this is the thickness of the piezo electric material, and this is the diameter of this material, and this is the means circular shape, and this is in the square shape. So over here you can see that this is the height, and this is the breadth, and this is the thickness of the material, and we can apply force from here. See, we can use this device as per our requirement. We can give force any of the from any of the direction, and it will produce the output means perpendicular to that force applied. So to this material we can give force from this side also, but as per our requirement we can select the shapes of the piezoelectric transducer. So this is the shape which is available in the market, and this is also a shape which is available in the market, so we can use for our requirement, as per our requirement. So generally it follows the say Q is equal to CV, means the charges which is generated due to the Coulomb's law. So V is the voltage, Q is the means charges, and C is the production of the charge, which is means Q coulomb charges which is produced due to the applied voltage. and the method of operation depends on the shape of the body or relative to the crystal axis and location of the electrodes. So generally we select the shape of the piezoelectric transducer as per our requirement, or we can arrange it as per the direction of the force we need to apply. So let us discuss the diagram of the piezoelectric transducer. So this is the point at which the electrodes are connected, the upper surface and the bottom surface. In between we have the delta T, means change in the thickness, and this is the force applied, and this is the length and this is the width of the transducer or means material. So here you can see that we have applied force, means it when the force is exerted, means it offers change in the shape in the all three directions, say x, y and z direction. So this is the piezoelectric crystal on which we are applying the force. Piezoelectric crystal used for the measurement of the source and axial numbering of the crystal. Now the magnitude and the polarity of the induced surface charges are proportional to the magnitude and direction of the applied force. Generally the force which is applied, according to the force applied, it will produce an electrical output. So the magnitude of that electrical output is basically proportional to the force applied, and the polarity of the induced charges depending on the direction of the applied force. So basically the side from which we applied the force, according to that applied force, the output voltage having the polarity. Therefore let us continue with this in the next slide. Therefore the Q is equal to D into F. So force is directly applied to the charge produced, so D into F. That's why D is equal to charge sensitivity of the crystal, so C by N coulombs per Newton, and F is equal to the applied force which is in the Newton, and the force F causes a change in the thickness of the crystal. So F is equal to delta E by T into delta T. So where E is the Young modulus of the material and A is the area, T is the thickness, and delta T is the change in the thickness. So A area is the crystal area of the crystal in meter square, T is the thickness, and E is the Young's modulus. So Young's modulus basically appears only when the device has the property, means it has the property that when we give the force, the shape of the device will change, and when we remove that force, the device or the material will regain its original position. So that's why Young's modulus will appear wherever such devices we use for the operation. And as we know that the Young modulus E is equal to formulation of stress and strain, so F by A. So A is the delta T by T, means change in the thickness to the original thickness, and F that's why this equation will become Ft into Ft by A into delta T Newton per meter square. So from this we can write the equation A is equal to W into L, A into W into L. So just a minute. From this we can write the equation of the area A is equal to W into L, where the W is the width of the crystal in meter and L is the length of the crystal in meter. So this is how we can apply, we can put the values of the equation in the main equation of the charge, and then after let us discuss the this implementation in detail. So therefore we are putting that value, so Q is equal to D into A into delta T by T. So the charge at the electrodes gives the rise to the output, that is E output. So E output, the equation of the E is from the say the capacitance between two plates, like so Q is equal to Cp, where Cp is the capacitance between electrodes, and where Cp can be, we can write epsilon 0 epsilon r A by T, where the T is the thickness. We can we we use the d instead of t in the formula of the capacitor. Here the thickness of the device is changing, that's why d is replaced with the t, and epsilon 0 and epsilon r is the relative permeability and permittivity of the material and the medium, and a is the area. So the E0 equation will be q by cp. So we are putting the value of cp over here. So df by epsilon 0 epsilon r a by t, the equation will become, after solving this, f by a dt into epsilon 0 epsilon r. Now pressure f is p is equal to f by a, so force per unit area. So epsilon 0 is equal to d into epsilon r epsilon 0 t into p. So by putting this value we will get the equation of E0 in this. So p is equal to f by a, so d by epsilon 0 epsilon r t into p. Now the E0 will become g into t into p, where g is the d by epsilon 0 epsilon r. So this d by epsilon 0 epsilon r will replace with the g, and the g is the voltage sensitivity of the crystal, and it is constant. Its units are voltmeter per Newton. So that's why g is equal to E0 by tp. So E0 by t into p, we can write this to solve the equation for further. So therefore, but E0 by T is the electric field strength per voltmeter, volt per meter. So let the epsilon is equal to epsilon E0 by T. So G will become electric field divided by the stress applied. So electric field generally indicated by the epsilon, and P is the stress which is applied. So E0T is the electric field intensity, and P is the applied force or stress to the crystal. So therefore the voltage intensity G can be defined as the ratio of the electric field intensity to the pressure. So that equation is E0 by T is equal to epsilon. So therefore, hence the crystal voltage sensitivity can also define as the ratio of the electric field intensity to the pressure. So that's why the charge sensitivity D is equal to epsilon 0 epsilon r G into C by N. So that's why this is the unit. So the values of the crystal voltage sensitivity, permittivity and charge sensitivity for the barium, titanate and quartz are the given in the below table. So according to the sensitivity offered by the material, we can use, or as per our requirement, we can use different type of material. Generally we use barium, titanate and quartz material for the piezoelectric device. So generally this is the standard voltage sensitivity and permittivity and the charge sensitivity given for the particular material. So this is the proportional proportion of the quartz and barium titanate. So the constant used for the barium titanate are D33 and G33. So according to that constant use, we can apply this constant means formula for our particular equation. So G33 will become field produced in the direction of 3, stress applied in the direction of the 3. So the field produced is E0 by T, and the stress applied is F by A. So therefore the voltage output E0 will become, the equation was the equation for our electrical output for the piezoelectric transducer was E0 is equal to GTP, but here G is replaced with the 33. So 30 basically indicates the material which we are using, means barium titanate. So from this formula we can justify that if G33 is there, then you can say that the barium titanate used for the piezoelectric transducer. So E0 is equal to G33 T into P. Now let us discuss for the quartz material. If the G is known for the particular material, then the voltage per unit stress can be calculated by the known value of the T. So in order to relate the applied force to the generate charge, the D constants are used. One of the D constants can be defined as that is means discussed in the Next slide. So D33 is the charge generated in the direction of the 3, and force applied in the direction of the 3, so that will become Q by F. So our equation means we can write this equation. D33 can be calculated from the given from the G33. If the relative permittivity of the material is known, so from the equation we can write equation number 1, we can write the D33 is equal to epsilon R epsilon 0 G33. So whenever such output equation of piezoelectric crystal asked in your GTV exam, you have to derive till E0 is equal to GTP. But this is the additional information when we use such materials, means different type of materials. Then we can apply this formulas to determine the distance and determine the field intensity. So this is how we can define the output equation of the piezoelectric transducer. Let us discuss the advantages of this piezoelectric transducer. It is small in the size, light in the weight, and rugged in the construction, because we can apply a force as per our requirement. The durability of the material is very high, and it is self-generating transducer, or we can say it is active transducer. So there is no need of the additional external source of the supply, and no additional adaptation is required for the generation of the output. Then it operates at a very wide temperature range, say minus 200 degrees centigrade to plus 300 degrees centigrade, and for the ceramic devices, if we use, then we can use it for the plus 100 degrees centigrade. Also it offers the good frequency response when we apply the force, and output is say large, quite large, say 2.5 mm thick quartz crystal material sensitivity will generate 125 millivolt per kilopascal pressure, and for crystal area of 1000 mm square, the sensitivity is 125 V by Kn. So from this you can justify how sensitive is this device, and we can use this device for our application whenever we required. Now let us discuss the disadvantages of piezoelectric transducer. So the disadvantages are the output is affected by the temperature variation. So whenever the temperature surrounding temperature of this piezoelectric transducer is say vary or variable, means suppose we use this piezoelectric transducer for the industrial purpose, then the say output voltage or the output can be affected, or means it will be fluctuating according to the variation of the temperature. And if a constant deflection is applied to the transducer, it develops the voltage across its terminal. The charge leaks off slowly through the leakage resistance of the transducer. So however, if a voltage measuring instrument or voltmeter is connected across the transducer terminals, so it leaks off the charge very quickly and prevents measurement and static displacement. So these are the disadvantages of the material. And the applications, so application is for the measurement of force and pressure. They can measure force over a wide range from 1 Newton to 200 Newton with a linearity of plus or minus 1%. And the barium titanate piezoelectrical crystal are used in industrial cleansing apparatus and underwater detection system, sonar system. Generally you've seen this type of technology in the Bollywood or Hollywood movies. Generally it is sonar technology basically used for the detection of the object in the deep into the sea. And they can be used for measurement of temperature in the range from minus 40 degrees centigrade to plus 230 degrees centigrade with the linearity of plus or minus 0.5%. So from this you can judge that how sensitive this device is. And the resolution is say 0.0001 degree centigrade. So the fourth application is they are used in the application like ballistic blast and explosion and fuel injection and internal combustion and high density say sound flow or pneumatic pulsation, or because of their rugged construction they can use for such applications. So let us discuss the topic number 6 of this chapter, Hall effect sensor or Hall effect transducer. So what is the Hall effect devices? Generally it is a strip or it is a metal strip which carries metal which is carries in the presence of the transverse magnetic field. So this is a conducting material which we put in the magnetic field. So the difference in the potential produced between the opposite edge of the conductor, so that is nothing but the Hall effect. The magnitude of the voltage depending upon the current and the strength of the magnetic field and property of the conductor referred as the Hall effect. So let us um, see it very clearly from the figure or from the diagram. So from this you can see that this is an object which is placed in the magnetic field. So this is the direction, means transverse direction from the magnetic field, and this is the point at which we applied uh, the input voltage to this device. From this variable resistance we can vary the input voltage, and this is the magnetic field. So means whenever such material we place in the magnetic field, and then due to the Hall effect, the perpendicular sides of this transverse magnetic field, means in this 2 point we will get the means separation of the charges. So due to this effect, means Hall effect, the charges will get separated, and positive charge is and negative charges we will get in the opposite, means perpendicular to this applied magnetic force. So that will be nothing but the Hall voltage. So this is called the Hall effect. So it is present in the metals basically. And semiconductor say in varying amounts. So it depends on the deposits sorry it depends on the densities and the mobility of the carrier. So whenever the mobility of the carrier or charges are high, and if such materials are placed in the magnetic field, so at that time we will get the maximum Hall voltage. So on this principle basically the Hall effect, we can describe the Hall effect by this principle. So you have to describe by this. So from the figure, assume that the current is passed through the leads 1 2 of the strip. So from 1 and 2 the current which is passing, and the supply or electrical supply which is connected between point 1 and 2, and the output leads are connected to the edge 3 and 4. So these 3 and 4 edges will have the Hall voltage, and they are at the same potential when there is no transverse magnetic field. Means if there is no magnetic field, then both having the same potential, means whatever the supply you will pass, the output voltage you will get. And due to this, when a transverse magnetic field is passes through the strip, and output voltage appears across the output leads, means if there is no potential difference, the charges will not flow. But due to this transverse magnetic field, the potential difference created, and due to this potential difference created, the Hall voltage will appear at the when the magnetic or transverse magnetic field is passes through the strip, the output voltage appears across the output leads. So this output is proportional to the field strength. So if field intensity is more, then output voltage will be more, and if the field intensity is less, say the output voltage is less. So this is how the Hall effect transducer works. And the output voltage is given by VH into VH is equal to KH into IB over T. So where KH is the Hall effect coefficient, and the unit is voltmeter upon A the Weber per meter square. So this is the Hall effect coefficient, and T is the thickness of the strip is in the meter, and I is the current in ampere which we are applying across the material, and B is the flux density which is in the Weber per meter square. So therefore the voltage produced can be used for measurement of current I or the magnetic field strength. So from that voltage we can define that the intensity of the magnetic field as well as the current which is passing through the circuit. And the Hall effect EMF is very small in conductor. So basically the Hall effect EMF is say very small, we need to measure we need to measure it with the proper devices, and it is difficult to measure. So in some semiconductors we use generally germanium. The EMF produced is large and can be measured by a moving coil instrument. So we can use a devices for the Hall effect as per our requirement. So we can use different type of materials. So let us discuss the typical value of Hall effect coefficient for the different material. They are given in the below table. So generally we use arsenic material, then copper material, then iron, then silicon, then different type of material generally we use. Then this is the field strength which is in the Weber per meter square, and the temperature which can withstand or means the property remains unsteady at the temperature, and this is the Hall voltage offered by this different type of material. So basically we use this type of materials for the Hall effect. Now the application of the Hall effect sensor, magnetic to electric transducer generally we use. So first is the magnetic to electric transducer. It can be used for the principle. We generally use magnetic to electric transducer. Semiconductor plate inserted into the magnetic field to be measured, and the magnetic lines are say perpendicular to the plate. The transducer give the output. So this is the Hall effect principle. Generally we use we place the current carrying conductor in the magnetic field. So at the perpendicular side the magnetic field we will get the electrical output. So magnetic to electrical transducer, generally it is the working principle of that transducer. So the advantage of that magnetic to electric transducer is it requires very small space, and in the direction of the magnetic field, and thus the Hall effect element inserted in the narrow gaps for the magnetic measurement in the air shape. So it requires the less space for the operation, and the Hall effect element gives the output a continuous electric signal in the direct response strength. So the disadvantage of this application is high sensitivity to the temperature variation, and Hall efficiency may vary from the plate to plate, which may need individual calibration of each case. So whenever such sensitivity or Hall efficiency varies, so we need to choose proper material. So for this we have the second application, that is measurement of the displacement. This is the setup for the displacement measurement. So this is the plate in which we are applying the magnetic strip. The strip over here we are giving the space at which we are moving the strip. This is the ferromagnetic material. We are measuring this ferromagnetic material movement, and this is the structure. So when you means combine all the setup, it is look like a closed core. So closed core will offer the minimum reluctance, and if this plate moves or so that it requires more MMF for the transformation of the magnetic flux. So it can be used for the measurement of the location of the displacement of a structural element, and it can serve as an indirect acting position displacement or proximity transducer. So whenever the movement of any object which having the magnetic tendency, it can be measured with the help of this Hall effect. And in case where the change in geometry of the magnetic structure causes a change of the magnetic field, so whenever you we move this part of this core, the MMF requirement or the voltage will be changed. So this diagram shows the ferromagnetic structure having a permanent magnet, or we can say whenever the material having the property or say magnetic property and such type of arrangement is there, so we can displace so if we displace that material from the the either part of the device, then there is an air gap will increase, and due to that air gap it requires more MMF to transfer the flux. So this generally its Hall effect transducer is located in the gap generally, and the adjustment to the permanent magnet, the field strength produced by the permanent magnet magnet is in the gap. So where the Hall effect element is located, that we discuss in the that plate which is inserted in the gap is varied by the changing the position of the ferromagnetic plate, and the output is proportional to the field strength. Means when we move that plate, the field strength will increase or decrease. So in the gap, which is function of the position of the ferromagnetic plate, so whenever the ferromagnetic plate is, which is near to the core or near to the its either part, then the maximum flux can be transferred through that air gap. And if it is away from that, so the flux requirement will be changed. So due to that structure, we can measure the displacement. Now measurement of the displacement permits say up to 0.025 mm. So if that distance will increase, then that will offer the maximum means mmf requirement. Now measurement of the current. So let us discuss the measurement of the current. So in the measurement of the current, we have the such arrangement. So the conductor which is passed through this hollow part, and on the surface of this hollow part we have the Hall sensor, which is the Hall effect element, which is mounted on the surface, and this is the magnetic conductor, concentrator, on which we have the magnetic field. So it can be used to measure the length less than a milli ampere to the 1000 ampere. So at high current levels, the magnetic conductor can be omitted, since the magnetic field is fairly strong in the vicinity of the Hall effect element, and thus causes appreciable output voltage, which can be easily deflected. So this figure shows that V output is proportional to magnetic field strength and the current flowing through the conductor. So whenever the current flowing through the conductor, it has means own magnetic flux on the surface, and the magnetic concentrator having the magnetic flux itself. So according to the magnetic field strength and the current flowing through the conductor, the output voltage, or we can say Hall voltage, will change. So from that we can say that according to the output voltage or Hall voltage, we can say that this much amount of current which is passing through this conductor. So from that we can determine the current which is passing through the conductor using the Hall effect sensor. So after this presentation, you have the assignment questions, which are: what is the RVDT? Explain with its neat sketch. Also enlist the advantages, disadvantages, and the application for the displacement measurement, and explain piezoelectric working principle and derive its output equation. Also enlist its advantages and disadvantages. Explain the Hall effect transducer with its advantages, disadvantages, and application. And these are the instructions which are related to the assignment which is written below. So you can take the snap of this slide, and if you have any doubt, then we can solve your doubt in the doubt solving session, students. And you are feel free to call me anytime for your doubts. Thank you very much, student. Thank you all. Jai Swaminarayan.